Hey, I want to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. I'm your host, Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's when I had a guest on in the past, and I liked them so much I had to bring them right on back. So today's guest is Jim Hernandez, and he is the president over at Strategic Business Communications, also known as SBC. Jim, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Adam.
Oh, man, so today's show topic, love it and excited to get into it with you. So building a strategic plan in just 1 hour. A lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs listening right now, and that could definitely benefit from your insight there. But before we get into that, let's just give everybody, I don't want to assume that all our new listeners had a chance to catch your first episode. So let's get into what you're doing over at Strategic Business Communications, SBC. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
So what we do is we primarily work with business owners, managers, and then eventually their sales teams to build strategies around sales and marketing and help them improve results. And we do that in Spanish, English, and even some Portuguese. We've done it in 25 plus countries.
That's awesome. What do you find, and obviously this is going to change from business to business and company to company, size of company, of course, but what are some of the common themes that you find are of things that are wrong in people when they're kind of going across their communication planning?
So the biggest thing I find in creating a sales and marketing plan is that they come up with a good plan, they get all written down, but execution is the hard part. And that's what got me to, taking the time to take a step back for an hour or two and walk through the major steps of a strategic plan so that they have a document from which to execute on. And not just have a document to execute on, but it's part of the process is why are they doing it, why is this important? And breaking down the steps. The biggest thing people miss is they want to measure the end result, but not the steps to get them there.
And I think that's a great transition. Let's get into building a strategic plan in just 1 hour. Where do we begin? What's the first step?
So the first thing you need to do is, and we're going to walk through 12 steps rather quickly. The first one is how to articulate your idea. Saying, look, this is where we're at, and here's where we want to get to. So you want to write down your big idea in a format that says, this is what's currently going on, and this is where we want to get to. The simple one is we're doing $1 million in business. We want to get to $2 million. And it doesn't have to be around dollars. It could be around specific activities. I've had people do the strategic plan for personal items, but when it comes to the core of our business, it's usually around transforming business in a positive way.
That's awesome. And what's the next one? Let's take us right through them.
So the next step kind of follows one of the questions we ask is that, do you really want to do this? The Spanish word we use is ganas. Is there some blood, sweat, and tears in doing it? And basically what we do is we get them to do a quick analysis of if we accomplish the big step, what happens if we do it, and what happens if we don't do it? And there's many people in the class that we've done. I've done 700 chief executives and key executives around the country, and even some in some Spanish countries. Is it worthwhile? How's it going to feel? So there is the things that we can measure, the KPIs, but there's also how are we going to react to having accomplished it or not having accomplished it. And this step is really about saying, man, do I really want to do this or not? And about 4 or 5 times in the 700 plus people, somebody looked at me and going, you know what, Jim, I don't think I really want to do this. I said, great.
Wow.
It's set up on a big piece of paper. We take the document away. We crumple that one up. We hand them back a clean one, and they come up with something new that they want to work on. And the body language tells me that we just did the right thing, because who wants to even spend a couple hours working on a plan that you really don't want to do?
Wow, that's insightful. Just to see it, that's like a breakthrough on both sides. I can see it. Like you just see the I don't really want to do this. I'm in. What's the next one? This is getting good, Jim. I expected it from you, but you're bringing the fire today. Come on, let's do it.
so the next step is companies have values, and they know what they stand for. They know what their DNA is. And all too often, companies, and at fault when they create successes, they go and try and spend money on other businesses they think they can make money at. And there's a little bit of arrogance in saying, oh, we're really good at this. We'll be good at anything. And we've watched, big corporations divest themselves into other completely different businesses, but it doesn't fit to their core values. And what you want to do is just write down, what do we stand for today? What's our DNA? What are our character statements? And does the idea we're trying to accomplish create any conflict to who we are today? The simple ideas I remember from business school in the 80s was, Ford got into the aerospace and General Motors got into Frigidaire. They got refrigeration. Businesses that really had nothing to do with what their history was for. And so, so I've seen small businesses decide, they were selling products, and all of a sudden a friend wanted to get in the restaurant business, so they invested in a restaurant or a nightclub, and sometimes at the defeat of their entire operation, not just the one business they invested in. So it's just something to watch out for. Is what we're trying to accomplish fit for who we are?
Love it. What's next?
So the next step is applying your vision. So when I get there, what's it going to look like? And sometimes people are doing it to hit a specific sales goal. Especially small and medium-sized business owners, are looking for a exit strategy. So they're building on a plan with a very specific end goal. And in one case, one gentleman wrote down that, he wrote down a statement like this: on December 31st of 2023, myself and my 6 partners, who he named specifically, will be standing on 7 Mile Beach, toasting Dom Perignon at 8:30 p.m. because we sold the company for X. That's a very, very detailed vision, but this is where he was going. In a certain period of time, he was going to accomplish a profit and loss statement that caused the business to be worth so much. It was a desirable type of business, and so that was going to cause a sale. That's why they invested in the business, and he and his buddies were going to benefit from it, and then how they were going to celebrate.
Man, that's exciting. I don't have a vision statement that clear. I'm gonna have to talk to my co-founder Chirag. I'm like, hey, we didn't do that one. I'm not selling. I don't really know what else I want to do. So until I know that, we're fine. But I need something else. I want a vision like that too. It's good.
Adam, that might be an opportunity for a second conversation for you and I.
Oh man. All right, what's next? Come on, keep it coming. Keep it coming, Jim.
So the next step is about the customer. So now we know what we want. We want to get there. We make sure it fits. We know it fits well to us. But the underwriter to every business idea is the customer. So we have to list what the customer benefits are. What's in it for the customer? The famous FM station, WIIFN. What's in it for me? And if your great business idea doesn't apply to something that's really worthwhile to the customer, then you're probably going to have trouble selling it, because they're the underwriter. They're the people who are going to empty their wallets, whether it's a B2B or a B2C situation, to cause them to want to invest in your business with their hard-earned dollars to make it a success. So you got to look at all the detail of what's in it for the customer.
Love it. Let's keep it going.
And to get people to also participate, you want to take great care of customers, you got to take care of all your employees and all your vendors. And that is what we have to see. I call it your Stanley Cup experience. So I don't have to explain too much on a podcast what the Stanley Cup is, but it's the championship in hockey. And the championship in hockey, when they take the team photo, it's not just the players and the coaches. Everybody that stood behind the bench is in the picture. The trainer's in there, the guy that sharpened your skates, the people that handed you your sticks. It's like it's literally like a half-moon pie of people. And it's a great symbol to say, who do you have to bring along? Who are the implementers, the investors, the people that you need help with to make it happen? Like in our business, because we do lots of event planning, having FedEx as a business partner, they would be in our Stanley Cup picture. My banker would be in the Stanley Cup picture. The hours that I sacrifice for my family, I would want my kids in the picture, because they make leaving the house and making it happen no problem. So you need to think about who are all the implementers and investors that are going to participate in you getting there. Who do you have to bring along for that trophy picture?
Man, I love it. The trophy picture. That's a great point. I love
Not
it.
that you have to give out a trophy, but you get what I mean. Accomplishment is.
It's a trophy picture though. It's who's nobody gets it there or does it alone. Whether it's they're helping you, or because in the case of family, they're allowing you the time and the room to maneuver to do what you need to do. It's all part of the equation, so it all matters. Let's do it. What's next?
So the next step is obstacles. Stuff's going to get in your way. So if you have like a big sales plan or running any type of business, cash flow is an issue. Time is something I have everybody write down, because time is always an issue. There's only so many hours in a day, and good or bad, we have to sleep some. And then, other things that happen, like suppliers, import, international trade, and, getting sick. And then the worst one that happens of all are the naysayers. People talk to you in your business. They go, oh, everybody's doing podcasts. Why, Adam, why would you get in that business? I traveled to 4 of the 5 top kidnap places in the world for a long time in my business. And people go, how could you possibly do that? How could you get on a plane? How do you speak in front of groups of people? Getting on a plane in groups of people are top 2 fears. And so lots of people can have a negative self-talk to you to go, you shouldn't be doing what you're really successful at. So you have to those are obstacles going to get in your way, making you second guess as to where you're going. Not having enough money is going to cause you some challenges in your business. And so change in regulation as it happens in California happens. So there's just a number of things that can get in your way. You need to be honest with yourself. What's going to get in your way? What are as I say, the hurdles you're going to have to trip over to get there?
Man, I love it. And I love how you have these mapped out, Jim. And these are going to be, everybody listening, you're probably going to want to listen to this one again, take notes. You didn't really know that you had to take notes on this one, but Jim is coming with it. I love it.
Well, and if they want to, I'll give them the information at the end, but I have a tool that I can do a one-on-one session with them or in a group that I'll do
awesome.
I'll do the 300 CEOs and key executives this year for Vistage. And
wow.
I walk them through the process on a giant tool, and it takes about 2.5 hours in a group. A one-on-one, it takes about 60 minutes. Yeah. No,
we'll definitely leave that info, but I want to get through these steps first. I forgot. What step number are we on? I know you got it.
So after obstacles, we get down to KPIs, and I call it a dashboard because I love cars. Mm-hmm. So in the tools, it looks like the dashboard of a car, mm-hmm. where, when we're driving down the road, people always ask, how fast are you going? But mm-hmm. if you love cars, you want to know how hard is the engine's working. And so the tachometer and the speedometer and the dashboard that I use are the same size because engine performance is usually more important or as important as speed. Do you have enough fuel in the tank? What's the oil pressure like? So in this case, what's profitability like? How hard are your people working? What are your enabling goal KPIs? Do you have enough cash in the bank? What's your receivables and payables look like? And there's just a number of things that businesses in what Harvard Business School calls a balanced scorecard, that this performance dashboard, you have to list out all the KPIs you're going to be looking at, at least once a week or once a month to make sure you're on track to getting to where you want to go in that big idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see, what's next?
So the next one you need a partner to do. And so another Harvard business practice is knowing your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, or your SWOT. And you write down what you're good at, what are the things you need to work on, what opportunities might be, and might be the threats that are going to get in the way of your being successful. You write them all down, and then you have somebody sit in front of you and have what we call a what about session, where they check in with you while you're explaining your strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, and just make you think deeper about each one of them and what you might have going for you and what you need to work on.
That's awesome. And give me some more.
So the last three are establishing your specific goals to get there. Some of them are going to be based on the big idea, and other are going to be like when I recently worked with us, if they want to increase sales, they're going to have more skilled salespeople. So mm-hmm. we currently have 8 salespeople. We need to get to 16. And we currently do $1 million. We need to get to $2 million. So the goal is salespeople. The current situation is 8, and where I want to get to is 16. And you want to break it down like that for each type of goal. Our current traffic walking in the door is 100 people a day. So the goal is traffic. Currently at 100, we want to get to 150. And there's just a number of measurements that you can do to set goals around. And beyond that, then the next step is writing down the action plans, the execution items that you need to do, and not need to do, but the must-dos. What are the things that get you, as Jim Collins talks about, the flywheel moving? So what are the things you must do to get this plan in effect? Just give it that push. And so I get people to write down their must-dos for the next 90 to 120 days. And if they're good leaders, they're writing down what they have to get done, who's going to do it, so they're going to delegate it, and when's it going to get started. Because the danger is we try and do everything ourselves. So when I started my business, the first thing I gave away was accounting. I can do it. I studied it in college, but I didn't really want to do it, which means I'm not going to be very good at it. Mm-hmm. So what are the things you're going to delegate away to make sure you get there? Because if time's an obstacle, you got to buy yourself some time. And typically you want to have 5 to 10 action plans to get that flywheel moving.
I love it. It's great.
And then the last one, which is step number 12, that is the rally cry. What gets you up every morning to go after it? And my favorite famous rally cry that I love is Michael Phelps, the famous swimmer, had on his headboard long before he was famous for swimming. He had 8 gold medals and 8 world records. It had never been done before. Everybody said it was impossible, especially the 8 gold medals. And we all know that in Beijing, Michael Phelps got 8 gold medals, and it turns out he only got 7 world records, but I wouldn't say he failed. So every morning when he got up and put in a 12-hour day as a swimmer, that's the first thing he saw, and that's what got him up every morning when he had to get up early and spend 4 hours in the pool and 4 hours in the gym and 4 hours and working out with the psychologist. And there's a guy who, by that kind of level of commitment, having a rally cry, a call to action to get him up every morning, caused him to get after it. And I got a number of amazing rally cries that people put on the poster, and it's the big part in the center of all of these items that it's the why.
Man, I love it. You got me all fired up today, Jim. I'm like, rally cry. Where are we going? Let's go. I want to rally. I love this.
So now you're done. Here's the hard part. Now you got to get after it.
Yeah.
And so I can work with clients and break down all the details around financial activity, inventory capacity issues, and getting ROI on marketing dollars in a very detailed way so that they have a much more detailed plan. But at least this way, you can get through a strategic plan in about 60 minutes by yourself and in a group, which is even more powerful, in about 2.5 hours instead of 2 days, I've worked out a strategic plan for companies I've worked for after 2 days. We had lots of paperwork and big thick binders, but people really weren't fired up. I think this has always worked for me better because I built the tool for myself before I started presenting them, so that you could get it on paper quickly and then go out and fill up the 2-inch binder, because now you had a better idea what you needed to do, and you did it with more energy because your why was already there.
So 2 different ways you work with people. So I know you work one-on-one with companies, large organizations, and then you just mentioned a group format, which I was unaware of. Can you please detail both of them and let our listeners know? Because I know you just tipped the iceberg here on some headings, and I know they're interested, and I know they want more. So how do they follow up for your tool and all the other great things you're up to?
So I apologize for just teasing them, but they can.
I don't. It was good. It was a great tease. It's great.
They can find me anywhere on social media as Jaime Jim Hernandez, or the first name is spelled Jaime, Jim Hernandez, Hernandez. Our website is www.sbcinc.info. And if they want my email, it's jhernandez@sbcinc.info. And if they just talk about the fastest strategic plan you'll ever create, I'll know where they're coming from, and we can have a conversation as to how I can share the tool with them and how they can, get going on creating a strategic plan. Not that they put the plan down, but more importantly, they're going to help them execute on it.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Jim, it's been awesome having you back for this reunion episode. I'm going to have to bring you back on 2021 to catch back up with you, see what else you're up to then. Great episode. Lots of value today. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Don't forget to go check out Jim Hernandez. I know you. That was the ultimate teaser. We're both teased, and we both want more of Jim. So love it. Love what you're doing there. Don't forget also to subscribe to the podcast. If you got a lot of value out of this, which we hope you did, give us a subscribe. Don't worry, the subscribe button's not going to hurt you. Just hit the button and leave us a comment. Also, if you're watching the YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, give us a subscribe there and leave us some comments in the comment section. Love to keep the conversation going and the community growing over there on YouTube. So love our YouTube audience. And Jim, thanks again for coming on the show.